we're really on our way to Australia. And here we are, the whole family, riding down the Rhine River in this huge boat. If things get any more exciting, I'll burst. I just know I will. Everything is so perfect and wonderful. I know that nothing could spoil it. Nothing at all.
Hello.
Huh? Huh? Yes, it's turning out to be a very peaceful journey. Peaceful and calm.
Fritz, if for any reason you should change your mind and want to return home, please don't be ashamed. Just tell me.
Thanks. But you know, I think I've made the right decision for myself, Father.
But what about your decision to study music, Fritz?
I'm not really that good a musician, Mother. I just like to dream that I could be. And with this move, Dad's going to need all of our help.
You're going to help me take care of the family, are you?
Sure, I'm 15, Dad. I'm practically grown up.
And you've searched your heart to know what's most important to you, Fritz?
I have. I guess a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
I must admit I'm relieved to know you're coming with us.
Mommy?
Is your sister all right, Jack?
She's got homesickness.
Huh?
I'm leaving my home behind. The Alps are getting further away. What'll happen if I never see them again? Some people say that singing can make you feel better about things that make you sad. Oh, I've got to wait on them. Sweet faces from my past. Sweeping clouds that are swept away.
Becca!
Perhaps we should let her be by herself, Fritz.
Past. Gone are we across the sea, but no matter where we go, I'll think of thee.
Excuse me, young lady.
Huh? Was I loud?
Not at all.
Sorry if I was.
You sing very beautifully, my dear.
Did you say beautifully?
Yes, indeed. Your parents must have spent a lot of money having you taught.
But no one taught me. I learned by listening closely when our maid would sing me to sleep.
Your family has a maid, I see.
Her name's Marie, and I miss her terribly.
Yes. Well, servants come and go, my dear. The important thing is not to waste such an extraordinary voice. With your natural genius and a little training, you could sing opera.
But how can you be sure?
I am Gerald Snyder, one of the world's most famous conductors and composers. You have heard of my music, of course.
A famous musician?
Mm-hmm.
How exciting! It's truly an honor to have met you, sir. I'm Becca Robinson. I can't believe a famous musician likes my singing.
Tell me, my dear Becca, is your father a professional man?
He's a doctor.
Good, a doctor. Perhaps it would be wise for you to introduce me to him.
Uh-huh. He will be honored to meet you. I just knew this voyage would be exciting. I just knew it. Mr. Snyder, this is my father.
A pleasure.
The pleasure is mine, Mr. Robinson.
My wife.
I see where Becca gets her beauty.
Pleased to meet you.
A pleasure, madam.
And I'd like you to meet my son, Fritz.
My pleasure.
So.
Guess what, Fritz? He's a musician and also a famous composer.
Don't embarrass me. But as a musician, I noticed her marvelous voice.
Her marvelous voice?
Yes, a raw but talented voice. But I'm sure you're well aware of that.
Well, she's always sung beautifully.
Hey, stop it, Becca! I'm going to be famous.
Well, I hope to see you all again later. Bye for now.
There's an island up ahead.
I see it, Father. Hurry, Jack. Come on now.
course, it's important to practice my scales, but I don't want to miss seeing the island.
It's quite unusual to have an island in a stream.
It's a very famous island, Fritz.
Really? Famous for what?
Have you ever heard of the famous French woman Marie Antoinette before, Fritz?
Yes?
An Austrian princess, she came here to be married. She was going to wed a French prince and was to meet him on that very island. She had originally expected to meet him in France, but it was decided that without any of her clothes on, she would be handed over to the French here.
You can't mean that, Ernest.
But why, Father?
It's strange. To begin with, remember that the island is in the middle of the Rhine River, which flows between Germany and France. It seemed only right that a ceremony which involved France and also involved Germany be held somewhere in between these two great countries. Inside the German tent, they prepared Marie Antoinette to meet her husband-to-be.
But why untie my dress?
I apologize, my princess, but you're about to become French and you must not take anything from Germany with you.
May I not keep the clothes I have on?
I am sorry, but we were told that you cannot take anything, not an earring, a bracelet, or even a ring.
I am so ashamed to meet the prince like this.
And poor Marie Antoinette, a mere 14 years old and so very embarrassed, was sent on her way. Along the red carpet, out into the open, towards the French tent. From that moment on, she became a French princess and wife to the man who would someday become the King of France, Louis XVI.
Oh.
No one knew at that time that Marie Antoinette was destined for the guillotine.
I wonder if she had a beautiful voice like me.
Hello, folks. Are you looking at something interesting?
History. I was explaining about Marie Antoinette and the river.
How fascinating. I only know musical history myself.
That reminds me, I bet you wouldn't believe who the first person to ask Marie Antoinette to marry him was. Can you guess?
Of course, it was the prince, wasn't it?
No, long before that.
Well, son, we're baffled.
Mr. Snyder probably knows since it's musical history.
Why, of course I do. The facts are at my fingertips.
Please tell us who it was, Mr. Snyder.
Yes, well, you see, Frank was telling the story so well, I had to spoil it for him.
It was Mozart who asked her.
Mozart the composer? The one who wrote all the famous operas and symphonies?
That's right, Becca.
Please tell me everything about him, Fritz. I'm sure Mr. Snyder knows more than you, but still.
Oh?
But why on earth wouldn't you want to marry him, Fritz?
It's a surprising answer. Mozart was already a brilliant musician, even as a 6-year-old child. He had left his home in Salzburg and was playing piano in front of the royal court at Austria. One of the people listening to the concert was Marie Antoinette. She was 7 years old, a year older than Mozart. She thought he played beautifully, and everyone in the court agreed that Mozart was a child prodigy, which means a genius.
Are you all right?
Embarrassed. Ugh. But what is your name?
My name is Marie Antoinette.
Please marry me, Marie Antoinette.
Quiet, everyone. Tell us, Mozart, why do you wish to marry our young Marie?
Well, because she helped me up and she's also sweet.
What an adorable boy. You come right here and give me a kiss.
Yes, ma'am.
Mozart traveled throughout Europe giving concerts and was always very popular. But as fate would have it, he was never to see Marie Antoinette again. How'd I do, Mr. Snyder? Did I get it right?
I couldn't have told it better myself.
I could be a singer. being asked to sing in front of the kings and queens of Europe and meeting famous people. It's so beautiful sailing down the Rhine River. When I become a famous opera star, I'll get my own boat and I can sail everywhere. Fritz could be my manager, and I'd be enormously popular. Of course, when I become very rich, I can afford to buy my own castle. And my whole family can travel with me all over the world, and we'll all live together in my castle. Won't that be grand?
Mr. Robinson, may I have a moment of your time?
With pleasure, sir.
I find myself in a very embarrassing situation.
What's that?
Yes, I seem to have misplaced my wallet.
Oh, dear. I assume that you've spoken with the captain?
But I can't borrow money from a boat captain.
I was speaking of your wallet. Perhaps it's been found.
Of course, I see your point, sir, but my wallet, it fell overboard.
I sympathize with you, Mr. Snyder. And I'd be happy to lend you just as much money as you may need, so don't you worry. I'm glad to help out.
Thanks. I'll pay you back the moment we get to London. I'll just slip off the boat and pick up some money.
Now we're coming up to one of the most exciting parts of the whole trip.
Look, darling, the cliffs of Lorelei.
Yes.
Magnificent.
The cliffs of Lorelei are so beautiful that I feel like singing. My song of Lorelei. La dee. Who could be singing? She sings beautifully, like a real opera singer. When she sings, it's like she's painting pictures in my mind. And when I look up at the cliffs, I can almost see Lorelei sitting there with her beautiful long hair. Maybe someday I'll be able to sing that beautifully. Oh, we're passing between the cliffs so closely, it's a little scary. And we're starting to go so fast that everything is going in a blur. Oh, those cliffs are so tall. She's so brave. She keeps singing even when the water gets rough. Someday I'll be just like her. We made it. We're past the cliffs. They're behind us. But the beautiful song keeps going on. I'll be a singer. Maybe the best one. In all of European opera.
Hello, Becca.
Isn't it a beautiful day?
Your father certainly has made my day brighter.
I have the best dad. He even said I sing pretty.
Your father truly believes in helping his fellow man. Fortunately for me, be sure to mention that I spoke well of him.
Daddy always told me being good should be its own reward, Mr. Snyder, not praise. I want to ask you something. Am I a good enough singer to make people see pictures in their mind when they hear how beautiful the song sounds?
Of course, Gerald Snyder knows a gifted singer when he hears one.
Mr. Snyder, I'm thankful that I was given this gift. It's like a miracle.
You know, Becca, we make our own miracles.
How can we do that?
Huh? What I mean is, all I'm really saying is that a smart person gets what he wants the easiest way possible.
For me, it's easy. I could study a few years and then become famous.
You'll study in Vienna, of course.
Mom! Dad! I've decided.
Calm down now, Becca. Decided what?
What is it, dear?
I can't come with everybody to Australia. I have to stay in Europe and study opera in Vienna.
Are you mad?
But, Becca, that's a very difficult career.
Not for me, Mama. I've got a natural ability to sing opera. Before long, I'll be famous throughout Europe. Then you'll be proud of me. It's not very difficult when you're a child prodigy.
Who filled your head with this nonsense? Opera singing's very hard.
Mr. Snyder told me.
He's just being polite, Becca, honest.
Spoil sport, if you're going to be jealous, I won't let you manage my career.
That's enough. I'm taking you to see someone who will straighten you out.
Fritz, you're behaving like a child.
Come on.
An opera singer, imagine.
Mr. Snyder may be a bad influence.
I'm not quite sure what that Snyder fellow is up to. I think that maybe I'd better keep an eye on him.
I think so, Ernest.
Fritz can say anything he likes. I know Mr. Snyder told me the truth.
Excuse me, ma'am.
May I help you?
Yes, would it be impolite to ask what your name is?
Elizabeth Matterley.
The opera singer.
Are you an opera fan?
I studied music for a while, ma'am, but even if I hadn't, everybody's heard of Elizabeth Matterley, the famous prima donna of the Vienna Opera House.
Oh.
Why, how flattering.
Mrs. Matterley, could I get your opinion on something? You see, my younger sister here, Becca, believes that she could be an opera singer. She's really convinced herself of this.
I'm talented. Don't be mean just because you're jealous that Mr. Snyder called me a musical genius.
Gerald Snyder?
Composer and famous musician.
Sorry, dear, but there's one thing Gerald Snyder's not.
Famous?
He's not any kind of a musician. That Mr. Snyder approached me and told me how beautiful my earrings were. He claimed to be a famous composer and expected me to believe him. He even claimed to be a dear friend of the singer Elizabeth Matterley. Can you imagine? It was quite evident that he was a fraud, obviously. Then the man had the nerve to ask me to loan him money. Can you imagine? He wanted me to believe that he lost his wallet somewhere.
Thank you for explaining, ma'am. Now, Becca, do you see how Mr. Snyder plays his tricks?
What a pity, the poor child.
I don't care what anybody says. I will be an opera singer.
Becca! Fritz!
Over here, Dad.
Come along. Your mother is waiting to serve dinner. You can look at the view after we eat.
Dad, please allow me to introduce you to Mrs. Elizabeth Matterley.
Mrs. Matterley, a pleasure. Needless to say, I've heard of you. I'm a great admirer of your singing.
How kind of you to say so.
We would be honored if you would join us for dinner. There are so few real musicians on this boat.
Then you know that Mr. Snyder is a fraud.
I've begun to suspect that, yes. I'm sorry you've been disappointed.
Come and have dinner with your family, and later we can talk. All right?
I guess that I can think about my career after dinner. I'm so hungry, and I bet Mom made my favorite sandwiches. I love to eat.
I'm so pleased you could join us, Mrs. Matterley. Please help yourself to a sandwich, won't you?
Thank you, but a singer must be very careful about what she eats. Too spicy for me.
Huh?
Of course. Perhaps you just prefer some of this,
Oh, no, thank you, Mr. Robinson. Coffee is very bad for my voice.
Dear me, I'm not sure what else we can offer you, Mrs. Matterley.
Don't fret, my dear. You see, I'm always prepared. I've brought my own dinner. My favorite, some plain unflavored cookies.
I admire your discipline, Mrs. Matterley. It must be difficult to always eat simply.
A singer needs discipline. As you know, Dr. Robinson, there are some people in this world who believe in taking shortcuts to success, people like Mr. Snyder. However, true success requires work and constant practice. I'm sure it is no different for you as a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I want to make another important announcement.
Oh.
I've changed my mind. I've decided not to become a singer. Not because I can't sing, but I'd miss my mom's sandwiches too much. And they probably don't serve food this good in all the royal courts that I'd have to visit.
That's very wise.
You must be hungry after all that thinking.
Yeah, Mom, I am.
Becca's always hungry.
You all seem to be having a pleasant dinner.
Well, discussing music, Mr. Snyder. Care to join us,
Mrs. Matterley.
He seems to have lost his appetite.
Phew.